Hello, fictional. Welcome to the crossover What Ifs. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the blood red fox? Huge shout out to YBARRA87 for this story. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Lucifer Magni, the king of hell, was currently going over the current number of residents in hell because of Extermination Day. He had a lot of crap going for him, one being his daughter wanting to open a hotel to help redeem sinners and grant them access into heaven, something he saw impossible due to the high standards his father had. Lucifer could see that many of these sinners didn't belong here, but he knew once his father made up his mind it was set. That was a year ago, and while his daughter hasn't succeeded in redeeming a sinner, she still hasn't given up. The other big problem he had was the demands that he fix the damage he caused to the gates of heaven 12 years ago. A bunch of angels had accused him of sending a demon to attack the gates, with the result of one of their angels losing his eye. Lucifer had no idea who caused the damage, but had a feeling whoever had done it had a good reason to. It just pissed him off that he was getting the blame for it. To be honest, when it came to the angels he couldn't help but hate them. They were not like his brothers Gabriel or Michiel who knew how to act around him. No, these angels were too self-entitled, thinking they could order him around. As he went over the number of losses, he immediately noticed something. The number of losses this year is a bit too high. He said as he went over the number of exterminator angels that were sent and immediately turned red with rage when he saw how many were in hell. What the fuck? This was not the agreed upon number. He roared out in rage only to be calmed down when he felt his wife place her hand on his shoulder. What seems to be the problem, my love? She asked as he looked at her with love. Heaven sent far more exterminator angels for this year's Extermination Day than what was originally agreed upon. He told her. Perhaps it was to deal with whoever was killing them during these past 12 years. Lilith suggested as her husband looked over the reports and shook his head. No, they were up to something. According to these reports, the extras that came yesterday split upon into two groups, but it looks like they were killed, so who knows what they were up to. He replied as he thought about the person who killed them. About 12 years ago, someone began killing the exterminator angels every Extermination Day. When he first heard about it he decided to find out who it was. Unfortunately, he had no luck. Whoever was doing it was making sure they weren't going to be found. He then decided to check out one of the corpses and could feel the hatred of whoever killed them. It was clear this person hated angels. The angels had made demands for him to hand over whoever was killing them, but Lucifer refused. He told them that he wasn't responsible for what the sinners who came to hell do, and if they were so determined to have this sinner, then they would have to fight him. That shut them up and made them leave only for them to promise they would kill this person the next Extermination Day, but it hasn't happened yet. Then there were the rumors of a demon appearing in alleys killing those who were hurting others or trying to hurt him. According to these rumors, the person was a male fox with 9 tails with fur that was blood red. Most people had considered this person as nothing more than a made-up tale meant to scare them, yet some considered this person some sort of boogeyman. Lucifer couldn't help but feel that this was the same person killing the angels, but had no proof or way of finding him, let alone his name. At most he just knows his nickname, the Blood Red Fox. Do you think the Blood Red Fox killed them? Lilith asked as her husband let out a sigh. I know he did, I just wish I could find him so I can find out why he's doing this. Lucifer replied as both his wife's and his phone went off with a text message telling them to turn on the news. Lucifer and Lilith immediately did that only to be shocked at the headlines. Angel appears above Pentagram City. What does this mean? The angel had beautiful white skin and spiky blonde hair with bright green eyes. His wings had a tint of purple in them, and he was wearing bright blue battle armor with the symbol of the cross embedded in the chest. As soon as a camera zoomed in on the angel's face, Lucifer let out a scowl. Raphael. He growled out as Lilith looked at him. As in your younger brother Raphael? His wife asked only for him to answer her by nodding and then asked. What is he doing here? I don't know, but I know it's not good. Raphael is a self-centered yes man with a huge ego and only cares about boosting his reputation, no matter what the cost. I have a good feeling he's here on someone's orders since he doesn't know how to think for himself. Lucifer answered as Raphael began to speak out loud. People of hell. I am the great archangel Raphael, the patron of lovers and love. Patron of love? No, the last time I checked Yagudil was the patron of love. Raphael is only the patron of lovers. Just what is he playing at? Lucifer asked himself as Lilith placed her hand on his shoulder as he continued to watch him speak. Meanwhile in a certain nightclub. As the image of Raphael appeared on TV, a certain demon gave a sinister smile as he heard Raphael's declaration. Lovers and love, huh? I have got to meet this person and show him just how weak love is. He said as he got up and left his club. Back in Pentagram City. I have come here on the orders from God himself. He has sent me here to rescue the soul of one Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Raphael declared as Lucifer gave a shocked look. I know that name, but I saw his file and he's supposed to be in heaven. He shouted out as Raphael continued. He was sent here because he killed himself since he felt he wasn't loved. However, I was sent here to show him he is loved and deserves a second chance at life. Now Naruto, if you're here, I urge you to show yourself so we can leave this place. If any of you demons get in the way, I will end you, so I suggest you don't. Suddenly a huge roar could be heard throughout the city as a shadowy figure began to climb a skyscraper, quickly making its way to the top and towards Raphael. When it reached the top, it suddenly lunged its way towards Raphael, hitting him at full force and knocking him down into a nearby plaza. The cameras began to zoom into their location, revealing Raphael lying in a crater and a nine-tailed fox demon standing near it. The cameras began zooming onto the fox demon, revealing that he was a male approximately near 20 years old and in good shape. He had bright blue eyes with long spiky blonde hair. As for clothes, he was only wearing black pants. He had no shirt on, revealing multiple scars on his upper body, along with his muscles and abs. However, the main thing that stood out about him was the fact his fur was blood red. As captions on the news declared him being a stud, it soon changed to the blood red fox is real. Lucifer quickly stood up. I'm beginning to see what's going on here, he said as he made his way to the window in the room. Where are you going? His wife asked. I have to stop this before it turns into a disaster, which would be bad for all of us. Lucifer replied as his black wings sprouted out of his back and quickly flew off, while his wife continued to watch the TV to see what was going to happen next. Meanwhile, with Raphael and the blood red fox. Raphael just let out a groan as he opened his eyes to see the blood red fox staring at him. I don't know who you are, but you made a big mistake attacking me, he shouted as he quickly pulled himself up and pulled out his sword. No, you made the mistake coming here, Angel. The fox demon roared as dark red energy began to cloak his body, with his eyes turning blood red. In a quick flash, he appeared in front of Raphael, grabbing his sword and turning it into ash. Raphael gave a horrified look, seeing that as the fox demon then appeared behind him, kicking him in the back and into the building. Raphael immediately pulled himself and looked at the fox demon. What did you do to my sword? I have used it for centuries and it never once got a dent, scratched, let alone destroyed. It was used for many battles and never once worn out, yet you destroyed it like nothing. Just what kind of demon are you? He shouted out for the fox demon to reply. Just someone who hates angels. I mean, I've been killing a lot of exterminator angels over these past 12 years and you're going to be the first archangel I ever killed. Raphael gave a shocked look hearing that. He had heard about a demon who was killing exterminator angels, but none of them had ever found out who it was. Knowing that the demon responsible was in front of him, Raphael couldn't help but smile. He saw this as a chance to add the slayer of the demon who was killing exterminator angels to the list of his achievements. You know, I don't need my sword to take care of you. I happen to be one of the 4 great archangels. I can slay you without it, he shouted out as he charged at him with his right fist. However, the fox demon immediately grabbed it, shocking the archangel, and then punched him in the face. He then disappeared in a flash, quickly appearing behind him, scratching his back, and then to his right side, kicking him. The fox demon kept appearing and disappearing around him, scratching, hitting, and kicking him all over. Raphael tried to get him in his sights, but realized that this demon was too fast for him. No, toying with him like he was his prey. He couldn't help but feel afraid of this. He came here to retrieve a lost soul, not this. I'll tell you what, it's obvious that you're no match for me, so how about I let you go? After all, it's not you that I'm here for. He stuttered out, only for the fox demon to appear in front of him, staring at him with hate in his eyes. Quit your games and lies. You said God sent you here for me and gave that bullshit excuse about how I died, but it's quite obvious that you're here to kill me. I mean, why call me out if you're not here to kill me? After all, it was you angels that told me that God had no love for me since I was nothing but a demon and deserved to rot in hell. However, I am a bit confused by you saying I deserve a second chance at life. Does this have anything to do with the strange dreams I've been having, where that strange old man that appears to me telling me that he can return me to life? Is that why you're here, to kill me, even though I have no intention of ever doing that? Raphael just stared at the fox demon in disbelief, trying to process what he had just heard, but was mostly stuck on who this demon was. You're Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze? He asked, only for the demon to respond. I was until I was disowned by my parents. Now I'm just Naruto, I have no last name. Raphael began to shake. He had no idea what to do, but knew he needed to fulfill his mission. I'm here to tell you that you're loved by God and that you need to return to that land of the living. You're needed there, he said as Naruto glared at him. I told you to quit it with your lies. I know that God fucking hates me, and I promised myself that I would kill him if I ever got the chance, since he made my life a living hell when I was alive, just because I was a man-made demon. Naruto shouted out as he began to glow dark red as he then said. By killing you angels I get closer to my goal of killing him. After all, an archangel is here, which means I'm getting close to my goal of killing him. In a quick flash, Naruto disappeared and then reappeared right in front of Raphael, with his claws sticking out intending to slash him. Raphael closed his eyes expecting this to be his final moment, only to reopen them to see Lucifer standing right in front of him protecting him with a barrier made of hellfire. You're damn lucky that I decided to show up when I did, Raphael, since I have questions and I expect answers. Let's start with the main one. What the fuck are you doing here and what's this about you being the patron of love? The last time I checked Yugudil was the patron of love. He screamed out. Raphael just looked at his older brother in confusion. What are you talking about? You know why I'm here. You even signed a document giving your permission for me to be here. As for the patron of love, Yugudil allowed me to use his title for this mission. His signature allowing to do so is also on here. He said as he pulled out the document. Lucifer glanced at it while keeping the barrier up that Naruto was trying to break through. For starters, that is not my signature, which means you were lied to, and I have a good hunch that's not Yugudil's signature. Knowing him, he was too smart to see that there was more to this mission, so it was just handed off to you since you're the patron of lovers. He replied as Naruto screamed at Lucifer to let him kill Raphael. How do I know you're not lying about not signing it? Raphael asked, clearly annoyed at Lucifer's implication that he's stupid, as Lucifer just growled. Because I wouldn't be here saving your ass and asking you questions if I did sign it. He shouted. It just makes me wonder what the fuck is going on in heaven. However, the main thing I want to know is what the fuck happened to this kid. What did father do to him? Father did nothing to him. He's just crazy. I was told to bring him back and I was just following orders. Raphael yelled. You expect me to believe that? I can see the hatred in this boy's eyes. I can tell what he's saying is the truth because he believes it. Not to mention I've seen the file on him and know for certain that something isn't right. Just what is going in heaven? Something happened since I know father wouldn't make his life a living nightmare for no reason. He would show some ounce of compassion for everyone, even the evilest person. That's how he is. Now tell me. I'm not allowed to divulge that information to you. Raphael replied, causing Lucifer's eyes to turn red, but before he could reply Naruto's shouting got his attention. Get out of my way and let me have him. This angel deserves to die. All angels do. He roared out. Lucifer just looked at Naruto, seeing the pure hatred in his eyes, and sighed. I know you have your reasons and I have allowed you to kill the exterminator angels, but I can't let you have Raphael. If you kill him it could lead to heaven launching a war on all of hell. Good, then I can kill more angels. Naruto screamed, causing Lucifer to let out another sigh. Suddenly an idea popped into Lucifer's head. I heard you say something about some strange old man who has been appearing in your dreams before I arrived. Do you know who he was? He asked. Lucifer hoped by asking Naruto questions while he continued to attack would tire him out. I don't know, he said his name, but I just started ignoring him when he said that he could return me to the living world. It was a long name for sure. I think his first name started with an H, Naruto answered as he continued to attack the hellfire barrier. What did he look like? Lucifer then asked. He was strange looking. He had white skin and blue eyes with spirals in them. He had strange horns on his head along with spiky hair and a pointy beard. Lucifer just scowled hearing that. Did he tell you why he wanted you to return to the land of the living? He asked. He said something about me having a destiny I needed to fulfill in my homeland. That I was needed to bring peace to my land and I was the only one who could do it. I told him to find someone else, but he said it had to me since I was the one to bring peace to the ninja world and that the QB could finally reform if I was back in the elemental nations due to his soul being sealed into me. I told him to fuck off and never bother me again. Naruto replied as Lucifer let out a snarl. Was the man Hagoromo Otsutsuki? Lucifer asked only for Naruto to give a nod. I don't believe it. This kid is a child of prophecy. He died before he could fulfill it and I have a strong feeling he was killed because those stupid monkeys in the elemental nation knew about the prophecy and decided to control it towards their favor, not knowing he is the child of the prophecy. He yelled as Naruto continued attacking the barrier and Raphael gave a shocked look at the revelation that Naruto was a child of prophecy. As ideas of how capturing Naruto and forcing him to do his duty just to add more to his reputation began to fulfill Raphael's head, Lucifer decided to ask Naruto another question. I understand yesterday you killed some exterminator angels, which you do every year. However, heaven sent more than they were supposed to make me think they were here for something other than killing sinners. Do you know what it was? All I know is a bunch of them surrounded me giving me some bullshit story about how they were going to take me to the land of the living where I belonged. I told them to fuck off and die, then killed them. Before dying I heard one of them mentioning that they hope the other team succeeds in destroying the hotel that the princess ran. Since I knew where some more angels were, I went there only to see them being blocked off by a barrier you made there and killed them." Lucifer just gave a shocked look hearing that, since he never made a barrier to prevent the exterminator angels from destroying it. Lucifer then tried to ask another question in hopes of slowing Naruto down, only for Naruto to stop and glare at him. "Don't think I don't know what you're trying to do. I know you're asking me questions just in hopes of tiring me out, but I used to be in Uzumaki, and one thing Uzumakis are known for is having a fuckload of energy and stamina." Naruto shouted as he then made several clones of himself and had them all attacking the barrier at a lightning fast speed. Lucifer was doing his best to maintain his barrier, but was having a bit of trouble maintaining it due to Naruto's clones attacking it all at once, making sure not to slow down at all. Raphael just looked at his brother in panic. What if he breaks through? He screamed in fear that this could be the end for him. "It's been a while since I went up against someone like this and I don't want to fight him. I'll keep this barrier up as long as I can. There's no way he can get to you at all if I keep this up." Lucifer shouted only to be startled by a voice that came from behind him, belonging to none other than Naruto. "That's what you think?" he said, startling the king of hell. "How? Well, you so focused on keeping me out you didn't seem to know that I was trying to create a small hole in your barrier. That's all I needed to get through." Naruto responded, since it was very easy for him to flash into the hole in the barrier with no problem. Lucifer just gave a shocked look as Naruto quickly punched the king of hell, shattering the barrier while sending him into a nearby building, then made all of his clones disappear. Naruto just stared at Raphael. "Time to die, angel." Naruto shouted only to stop when smoke began to surround him, followed by a voice coming out of nowhere. "I don't think so, fox boy." It shot out as an arm came out of the smoke and smacked him into a building. A demon soon emerged from the smoke, revealing himself to be none other than Asmodeus. He then turned towards Raphael. "I understand you happen to be the patron of lovers and love, well, allow me to introduce myself. I am Asmodeus, or Ozzy for short, and I am the ruler of the lust ring and lust itself. I am here to prove to you and everyone in hell that lust is the most powerful feeling there is compared to love, and show how love is useless altogether." The idea of being the angel to defeat and slay Asmodeus gave Raphael his confidence back in second wind. He saw how the demon of lust easily knocked aside Naruto and knew he would have to worry about him getting in the way. "Very well, demon," Raphael said as he got up. "I, Raphael, the patron of lovers and love, will show you just how weak lust is," he shouted as he then attacked them. As Raphael and Asmodeus started to exchange blows, Naruto quickly pulled himself out of the crater he was in. He glared at the archangel and demon fighting each other, seeing how they were at equal strength. Naruto just let out a huge growl. "I'm not going to let some fucking ugly rooster with a bad fashion sense take away my kill." He roared out, causing Asmodeus to give an offended look about his fashion style, only to be sucker punched by Raphael. Naruto then prepared to charge right at them, only for Lucifer to appear next to him and punch him hard in the face, knocking him to the ground. "That's for sucker punching me," he said as Naruto quickly picked himself up. "Stop getting in my way." Naruto roared out, only for Lucifer to stand his ground. "No," Lucifer shouted out as he stared at Naruto. "I can see in your eyes how much you hate my father and the angels. I can't help but feel it is somewhat justified, but this is my kingdom. The last thing I need is a war between heaven and hell breaking out. Now if you would just calm down, perhaps we can find out more, because I know something isn't right. My father has done many questionable things that led to me rebelling against him, but I know him and I can't help but feel something wrong is going on in heaven. Maybe if you tell me what happened." Before Lucifer could continue, he was cut off by Naruto. "Look, the only reason why I never came after you are due to your hatred with your father, but I am not afraid to go through you just to get that angel. Now move or I will make you." Naruto roared out, only for the king of hell to stand his ground. Seeing this, Naruto charged right towards Lucifer, only for him to hold out his hand, stopping him in his tracks. Naruto growled at this but gave out a vicious smirk as he began using all of his strength and kept running. Lucifer gave a surprised look as he noticed he was starting to move. Realizing that Naruto was going to use him as a battering ram on Asmodeus and Raphael, he quickly moved to the side, allowing Naruto to crash right into Asmodeus and Raphael, knocking everyone down including himself. Lucifer just watched as Naruto, Asmodeus, and Raphael picked themselves up. Asmodeus just glared at Naruto with a look of annoyance. "You know I am tired of you getting in my way. With you talking badly about my fashion style, which led to me getting suckered punched, to you charging into me. I have had enough. My guard is fully up now. There is no way I'm going to get hit anymore or let anything catch me off guard. You hear me? Nothing is going to touch me anymore. Nothing." He screamed out, only for a huge white limo to crash into him, sending him into a building with Charlie, Baggy, Angel Dust, Alistair, Nifty, and Husk coming out of it. Earlier at the Hazbin Hotel. Charlie and her friends were currently watching the news where Lucifer was trying to stop Naruto from killing her uncle Raphael. Charlie couldn't believe everything she had seen today. It was the first time she had ever seen one of her uncles, and she didn't know much about them. However, she couldn't help but see Raphael as an idiot with a huge ego, but the biggest thing that was troubling her was what Naruto claimed and how her father believed his words. It made her wonder if the hotel was nothing more than a mistake. She didn't want to believe that. No, she refused to believe that. She knew it would work. It even made her feel a bit better to find out that her father made a barrier around the hotel to protect it from the exterminator angels. Eventually, she became worried when Naruto got inside her father's barrier and punched him, shattering it. She thought Naruto was going to succeed in killing her uncle only for Asmodeus to show up. It was then she knew she had to help her father no matter what. "Daddy needs me," she said as she got up, surprising everyone. "Whoa, you're not seriously thinking about going there, are you, Princess?" Angel Dust asked. "Yeah, I am Angel Dust," she answered. "My kingdom is in trouble and I need to do everything I can to help it." Baggy just got up and stood in front of her girlfriend. "Look, Charlie, I understand, but that is the blood red fox. I mean, I heard the rumors about him, but no one knew about the exterminator angels he was killing. He is dangerous and you could get hurt or worst killed." Baggy shouted only for Charlie to stand her ground. Baggy knew it was pointless to change her mind when it came to her kingdom being in danger. "Fine," she said as she let out a sigh. "But I'm coming with you." "That's fine with me," Charlie replied. "You two have fun." Angel Dust shouted only for Baggy to grab him. "You're coming with us," Baggy yelled out. "Why do I have to go with you too?" Angel Dust then cried out. "Because you can't be trusted by yourself and knowing you, you would probably do something stupid," Baggy responded. "Name one stupid thing I did." Angel Dust shouted only for Baggy to pull out a list. "Hey, I said one. And when did you start making a list?" "When you decided to join your friend Cherry Bomb in a turf war. Now let's go." Baggy replied only for Alistair to appear next to her. "I think we should all go. It would be a fun outing," he yelled out as Nifty appeared next to him, jumping in excitement as he then looked at Husk. "Husker, be a good chum and drive us there, would you?" Husk just gave Alistair an annoyed look hearing that. "Do I look like a fucking chauffeur to you?" he yelled out only to respond quickly since he knew what Alistair was going to say. "Don't you fucking answer that. Do your own damn driving." Alistair looked at Husk in amusement. "I'll have you know I fully intended to reward you when we got there." He then held his hand out as a bottle labeled expensive and strong booze appeared in his hand. Suddenly a huge blur zoomed past them with the limo honking outside. "Hurry up and get the fuck out here," Husk screamed out. Everyone quickly made their way to the limo, where Husk immediately drove off as fast as he could, eventually crashing into Asmodeus. Back to the present. Lucifer just looked at Charlie in shock that she has shown up with her friends. "Charlie, what are you doing here?" he asked as he noticed Alistair giving Husk a bottle of booze. "I saw the news, Daddy. I figure you could use all the help you could get," Charlie replied as her father looked at her. "You shouldn't be here. Between my dumb younger brother's so-called mission and that young man over there, you could seriously get hurt," Lucifer said. "Mission? What mission?" Asmodeus asked as he pulled himself out of the building he went into. "I was sent on God's orders to show that young man that God loves him," Raphael responded as Lucifer looked at him. "Did Father send you here himself, or was this mission given to you by those low-class angels who think they know everything?" he asked. "That's none of your business. All that matters is that Father wants it down," Raphael responded. "Did Father tell you this, Raphael?" Lucifer then asked only for his brother to look away, giving Lucifer the answer that there was a huge chance that their father did not sign off on this. As Lucifer began shaking his head about how much of a huge mess this was, Asmodeus stared at Raphael. "I have an idea that will finally prove lust is stronger than love," he shouted out. "What's that?" Raphael asked. "We use our powers on that boy," Asmodeus replied as he pointed at Naruto. "If he falls under your power of love and doesn't succumb to my power of lust, then I will concede and acknowledge, but if he succumbs to lust, then you must admit lust is stronger." "Deal?" Raphael shouted out as Lucifer just glared at him. "Raphael, you're just the patron of lovers, not love. You don't have any powers over love, so it won't work," he shouted out only for his younger brother to give him a smug look. "That's where you're wrong," he said as he pulled out a blue orb. "This orb contains the powers of love. It will show Naruto that he is loved no matter what he thinks." Lucifer just shook his head. "I swear it's like he has no brains at all, just a huge ego," he muttered to himself as he then shouted. "Listen to me. It won't work. Just cut your losses and leave while you still can." "I'll show you," Raphael replied as he held the orb up and it began glowing. Lucifer began to shake his head again only to feel a hand land on his shoulder. He turned to see it was his wife. "Lilith, what are you doing here?" he asked as Charlie hugged her. "I saw that you were having a bit of trouble and decided that I should come and help," she said to him with a loving smile and looked at her daughter. "It seems I wasn't the only one that thought that." Suddenly the orb emitted a bright flash. When it died down, a hologram of a family of humans appeared before Naruto. There was a blonde adult male, a red-headed adult female, and 2 red-headed children, male and female, that looked like they were the same age. Lucifer immediately knew they were Naruto's family. This is going to end badly. The blonde adult male, Naruto's father, then approached Naruto. "Naruto, come back to us, son. We love you very much, after all, we're family. We accept you for who you are," his father said. Naruto looked at the image of his father and within a second his eyes turned dark red as he began to emit a dark aura around him. "Don't you dare say that to me. Not after what you did," he roared out in a demonic voice as he began to attack the images of his family, ripping them into pieces. As he did that, the orb in Raphael's hand shattered into pieces. "What happened? That wasn't supposed to happen." Raphael cried out only for Lucifer to answer. "I read the file on Naruto. I knew what his life was like and how he was treated. That image that the orb showed was what he wanted the most, but there was just one huge flaw in that. Naruto had never experienced love, so he doesn't know what it feels like, let alone what it is." As Raphael gave a shocked look at Lucifer's explanation, Asmodeus gave out a sinister grin. "My turn," he cried out as smoke began to surround Naruto. "Asmodeus, don't do it. It won't work." Lucifer shouted only for the lust demon to ignore him. As the smoke began to clear, another image of Naruto's family appeared before him, saying the same thing the previous image did. "What's going on? It's supposed to show us what he lusts for." Asmodeus shouted. Naruto began to slash through them again. "This is what he lusted for, but since he never experienced love at all, your lust can't affect him. You need to have experienced love for your lust to work. In simple words, lust sometimes needs love to work," Lucifer explained. Asmodeus let out a snarl. "No, I refuse to believe that. I refuse to lose. I will prove lust is the strongest," he cried out as he began summoning a huge cloud of smoke, channeling all of his lust powers into, as the cloud began to surround Naruto. "Give in to your lust. You know you want it." Asmodeus screamed out only for Naruto to let out a huge demonic roar which shook the whole area as a blood-red aura began surrounding him, destroying all of the smoke. When it was gone, all that was left was Naruto with blood-red eyes glaring at Asmodeus. "How could you? How could you do this to me? Me, your son?" he snarled out at Asmodeus. Lucifer just watched as Charlie asked, "Daddy, what's going on?" Well, it appears that Asmodeus was so determined to prove lust was stronger that in his attempt to make Naruto give in to his lust, he just made him mad. If I had to take an accurate guess, Naruto is lost in his rage so much that he sees Asmodeus as his father. Lucifer explained as Naruto approached Asmodeus. "I've always tried to show you that I was there. That I was also your son, but no. You always went on about how Menma and Mito were your only children. That I was nothing," Naruto roared out. Asmodeus, who was very afraid of what was going on, began to back away slowly. "Now I don't know what's going on, but you really should calm down," he said as he raised his left hand only for Naruto to slash it off and immediately pounced on him, giving him the worst beating ever. Everyone just watched as Naruto viciously attacked Asmodeus. They listened as he ranted on about his life when he was alive. How his father sealed the soul of the QB into him while making sure his younger siblings got the chakra. Lucifer could only frown when he heard this, since it gave him a better insight about the troubles going around in the elemental nations. How his father declared his siblings Menma and Mito the saviors of the village, while also announcing the fact that he held the soul, which let the villagers know who they can let their anger out on. Naruto went on about his life, how the villagers attacked him while his family ignored him and treated him like dirt. How they were so focused on his siblings because his pervert of a godfather told them a prophecy about a child born to the 2 strongest shinobis who would end up saving their world, bringing an age of peace, or end up destroying it. Lucifer knew right away that the destruction of their nation was their damn fault and they didn't deserve to be saved given what they had done. Eventually, Naruto decided he would try to earn their love and attention by studying in secret. He studied everything in the family library, mastering his father's techniques, even improving them along with other stuff. Lucifer realized right away that Naruto was a true prodigy. Eventually, Naruto found out that his father decided to make Menma and Mito the heads of the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans respectively, which would end up with Naruto being disowned and having no last name. However, Naruto knew a way about this. The truth was his father couldn't do this without having both of them challenge Naruto for the head position. His father had expected Naruto not to know this, and even if he did, he would be no match to stop them. Though Naruto proved them wrong, he challenged them both at the same time and won. He even made sure to slap seals on them when they tried to summon the QB's chakra, stopping them. He thought after this his parents would finally accept him, but instead, his father began to brutally beat him, claiming that the QB was in control, and once he was nothing more than a broken mess, his father gave him to the villagers so they could kill him. As Naruto told all of this, a plan formed inside Lucifer's head. He slowly made his way to Lilith. "I have an idea on how I can get some answers," he said as he began to whisper his plan in her ears, and she gave him a small nod. He then slowly made his way towards Raphael, as Naruto ripped off the 2 faces that were in Asmodeus' hair, while he ranted about the villagers killing him. Lucifer then stood behind his brother quietly and watched as Naruto was about to deliver a fatal blow to Asmodeus, only for Lucifer to quickly push Raphael towards Naruto at full force, stopping the fox demon from killing Asmodeus and making him set his sights on Raphael. Naruto quickly lunged himself onto Raphael, knocking him onto the ground and began beating him severely in the face. Naruto began screaming at Raphael about how he was treated when he arrived in heaven shortly after he died. It was clear Naruto saw Raphael as the angel he met in heaven. Naruto screamed about how he thought he was finally going to be accepted and loved, only to be told that there was a mistake and he wasn't supposed to be in heaven. That he was a demon due to him having the soul of the QB sealed into him. Naruto tried to understand this as the angels looked for a way to send him to hell where he belongs and just asked why God has never answered his prayers. He told them how he prayed to God asking him to help get his family to notice and accept him, only for them to go unanswered. He then prayed to him shortly before he died asking him to save him somehow, only for his prayers to go unanswered again. The angels' answer shocked him. They said that if they answered his prayers, then the villagers would stop believing in God, and God felt their belief in him was more important than Naruto's life. Naruto said it was that moment he felt something break in him. Rage began to take over him as he made an all-out declaration to kill God, as he then ripped out the eye of an angel and began destroying the gates of heaven until the angels found the way to send him to hell and got rid of him. Lucifer just narrowed his eyes, hearing that story, knowing his father would never ignore the prayers of a child in trouble just to keep people believing in him. It made him more pissed off that the gates of heaven were destroyed due to their action, yet the angels had the gall to blame him. He then noticed Naruto about to deliver a fatal blow to his brother and quickly sent a signal to his wife. Lilith quickly created vines that wrapped around Naruto, keeping him in place. As Naruto struggled to break free of them, Lucifer approached his brother, who was a bleeding mess. "Okay, Raphael, I have questions and I want answers. You're going to give them to me," he said as he then asked. "What is going on in heaven?" "I can't tell you. You don't deserve to know that information anyway," Raphael replied. "That's where you're wrong," Lucifer said. "I do deserve to know, and here are the reasons why. For starters, Naruto was supposed to go to heaven when he died. He was a pure innocent soul and did no wrong in his life. Second, the Biju are creatures made of chakra. They are beings of pure energy and in no way demons. I know they aren't demons. I'm pretty sure you know they're not demons, and I know damn well Father knows they're not demons since he helped in their creations and happens to be all-knowing. As for Naruto having the soul of the QB sealed into, well, that's something else altogether, giving the face that his former father sealed the soul inside of him without an ounce of its chakra. It's a being of chakra, it needs chakra to exist and keep going. It had no chakra of its own to survive, so it had no choice but to merge itself with Naruto's chakra system and soul. Because of that, QB can no longer form in the elemental nations, since Naruto is the QB now and is dead. However, that's beside the point. What I want to know is why Father refuses to answer his prayers. You're not allowed to know, Raphael responded as Lucifer let out a cry of frustration as Naruto continued to shout in anger as he tried to break free from Lilith's vines. I can't help but feel sorry for the kid, Husk said as he finished his bottle of booze. All that crap he went through and his prayers for help going unanswered, a part of me can't help but think it's someone else hearing his prayers and ignoring them. Everyone just looked at Husk the moment he said that, while Lucifer then looked at his brother, seeing a shocked look on his face. Lucifer just growled as he looked at Raphael. Someone else is responding to the prayers, that's it, right? Let me guess, one of those douchebag angels that think they know everything, right? He asked. You have to understand, Father has a lot of duties and he decided to branch them out by giving certain jobs to angels, Raphael responded. I take it 2 of them are deciding who goes to heaven or hell and answering prayers, right? Lucifer asked. Yes, but there are protocols to follow, Raphael shouted out, only for Lucifer to cut him off. Which they aren't following. I got a strong hunch they're responsible for hell being overcrowded all the time, since it's clear they have their ideas of how a person should live and a lot of people today don't match their ideals. Then there are the prayers they answer. When it comes to faith, Father was always set on letting humans follow their own paths, hoping they will find their way back to him. If push comes to shove, he would choose a child suffering over people believing in him. When it comes to prayers, they are to answer the ones they feel are the best for everyone. When it comes to a certain situation they are to call an office that responds to father and wait until father. I guess he decided it wasn't important enough for him to answer. Raphael responded as Naruto let out a roar of anger. He's starting to break through. I don't think I can hold him much longer. Lilith cried out as Lucifer let out a growl. You know what, I've had enough. He shouted as he picked Raphael up and held him in front of Naruto. I've decided that I'm going to let him kill you. The moment he breaks free he can claw you to death. Raphael gave a panicked look hearing that. You can't do that. A war will break out. He screamed out. The war which is the fault of the angels running heaven in father's stead. A war they set in motion. Lucifer replied. Raphael began sweating with fear looking for some way to get away only for Lucifer to hold him tightly. Raphael knew what he had to do to save himself. When it comes to the prayer protocols, there's a rule saying that the prayers of a child in danger must always be answered no matter what. They were supposed to answer his prayers that day but chose not to. They disobeyed father's orders on their own. They have been deciding what was best for heaven on their own for a long time. Father would answer this kid's prayers in a heartbeat if he heard them. There's no way father would have ignored his prayers. He would also never see him as a demon. He knows the difference. Please don't let him kill me. He screamed out as snot started coming out of his nose and tears from his eyes. Lucifer let out a look of disgust as he then noticed Naruto's blood-red aura disappearing and saw that he stopped trying to break free. You mean God never hated me or declared me a demon? He asked with a horrified look on his face as Lucifer then threw his brother to the ground. No, everything that happened to you was the fault of the angels my father entrusted to run heaven. It seems they've been doing things that they seem to think are best without running it by my father. I have a strong feeling CHERUP was their idea. Lucifer said as he looked at Raphael who just nodded. I've declared war on God because I thought he hated me and purposely made my life a nightmare. But that wasn't true, it wasn't his fault. I had no reason to hate him yet I thought I did. It was my reason to keep going, to live. Now I found out it was a lie, I have nothing to live for. Nothing at all. Naruto shouted out as Lilith released her vines and Naruto fell to the ground crying. Charlie quickly made her way to him. Charlie, be careful. Baggy shouted as Charlie just hugged Naruto. Baggy, he needs help. He just found out something awful and he really shouldn't be alone right now. Charlie responded as Lucifer approached Naruto lifting his face and staring into his eyes. Lucifer then released Naruto after getting a good look at them and approached Raphael. Your mission failed, Raphael. Thanks to you, I have a huge mess on my hands, along with a child of a prophecy whose soul is now broken. I am ordering you to leave now and tell everyone in heaven that I do not want to see anyone from heaven here in hell unless it's extermination day. If I see an angel in hell on any day except that one I will kill them for trespassing. Also alert Hagoromo Otsutsuki that I do not want him coming into hell and invading anyone's dream, especially Naruto's. If I get so much as a whiff of him, I will find him and end him no matter where he is. He said as his brother pulled himself up. You know there will be consequences for this, plus Naruto needs to fulfill his duty. Raphael shouted only for Lucifer to punch him. He has no duty to them. He owes them nothing. They lost him the moment his father tried to control a prophecy and had him killed since he thought he was nothing but a nuisance. Lucifer shouted. Besides, we both know if he does return they would just slap loyalty seals on him to make him nothing more than a mindless slave. That's what happened to his mother after all. The Minato Namikaze, Konoha comes first no matter what. You know this isn't over. Raphael responded. No, it's the beginning, but know this, if you want to start a war, then you better be prepared with what comes with it. Lucifer replied in a demonic tone scaring Raphael. With that said, Raphael flew off returning to heaven. Lucifer then approached Charlie who was still hugging Naruto who had just passed out. I see he's asleep. He said as Charlie looked at him. What's going to happen to him, Daddy? She asked only for her father to sigh. I don't know, sweetheart. Right now he's broken and needs time to recover. For now, let's get him to the hotel. He said as Alistair created a shadow that picked Naruto up and placed him in the limo. I know after today nothing is going to be the same for let alone hell. I have a strong feeling life in hell for Naruto isn't going to be the same and he's going to have a lot of attention on him from now on. Lucifer then made his way into the limo along with his wife and everyone else as the limo soon made its way back to the hotel, leaving Asmodeus who was severely wounded but will still survive and knocked out behind. True to Lucifer's statement, there were a lot of eyes now on Naruto as he drew the attention of a lot of people for his fight with Lucifer, Asmodeus, and Raphael, along with what he has been through. Jerry Baum's apartment. Jerry Baum had just got done watching the news report about the blood-red fox, along with his fight. She couldn't help but be impressed with him along with the shape he was in. Sure, it was a shame about his past that was revealed and she felt for him. She could see he could use him cheering up and it was a good thing, angel dust. All she would need to do was contact him and get him to tell her where Naruto was. "Don't worry Foxy, I'm going to cheer you up and then we're going to have a lot of fun together," she said as she began thinking about all of the fun they could have. The apartment of Emma Mayberry. Emma Mayberry just sat in complete silence, shocked at what she saw on the news. She had no idea about what Naruto, the blood-red fox, went through and she couldn't help but feel horrified and sorry for him. She had been following the rumors about the blood-red fox as much as she could, knowing full well he was real since he had saved her life. About a month after she hired IMP to kill that bitch Martha, she was ambushed by Martha and her family. They had found out she was responsible for their deaths and planned on killing. Having no idea how to defend herself without a weapon, she immediately began to run from them only to reach an alley with a dead end. She had thought this was the end for her until the blood-red fox showed up, slaughtered Martha and her family like they were nothing. Emma thought he was going to attack her only for him to walk away. She tried to thank him, but she then saw the look in his eyes. They were the same look when she had when she saw her husband cheating on her with Martha. Now she felt her world was shattered and she was alone. She could the hurt in his eyes. She had tried to find him again so she could at least help him since she owed him for saving her, but had no luck until now. "You helped me when I needed it, now it's time for me to help you," she said as she got up and decided to make her way to the hotel the princess ran, since she would probably know where he was. Verosika Mayday's studio. Verosika and her crew had just finished watching the news. Verosika couldn't help but become obsessed with Naruto the moment she saw him. The way he moved so fast and how strong he was, not to mention those clones of himself he made and all of that stamina he had. The thought of that and what more he could do so gave her a bloody nose. She had to have him. "Tex, find out where he is," she said to her bodyguard. Vortex, who knew what his boss had on her mind, gave a small sigh. "Boss, it might be a little hard for you to get to given everything we heard on TV. Not to mention he may not be in the best shape right now." "I mean, you heard everything that was said," Vortex replied, only for Verosika to interrupt him. "What I heard is he doesn't know what love is. He never experienced it before, which means he's pure and a virgin for sure," she said as the other Sukubi and her licked their lips. "He just needs some affection and I'll be sure to give it to him. Now go." Vortex just sighed, knowing her mind was set. "Fine," he said as he went to go find out where Naruto was. Meanwhile with Velvet. Velvet had just got done watching the news and let out a squeal of joy. "I finally found him," she shouted out as she made her way to her shrine of fox dolls and hand-drawn pictures of Naruto and her together, along with articles concerning the blood-red fox that showed how obsessed she was with him. Her obsession had started when Naruto had saved her from being drugged and raped. She was attacked from behind by two demons who planned on using Valentino's new drug that he was distributing on his workers to keep them hooked and working for him. This new drug was so strong that it would destroy a person's mind and make them mindless zombies who would do anything for that drug. Velvet had no way of defending herself since she was caught off guard and thought that it was the end for her, only for Naruto to show up and save her, killing the two demons and setting her free. After that, she had told Valentino and Vox what had happened. Needless to say, Vox was very pissed. He had told Valentino that his new drug was too dangerous and it had to go. Valentino tried to make excuses, but in the end, he ended up destroying it due to Velvet and Vox threatening to end their partnership with him. Valentino had tried to order a hit out on the blood-red fox for this, since he felt it was his fault, only for Velvet to shut it down by threatening to take his cane and shove it up his ass until it came out of his mouth. A threat he knew she would follow through with. Since then she grew obsessed with the blood-red fox, making dolls of him and collecting all articles about him. To her, he was the first person to ever show her kindness throughout her entire life. To her he was a prince. She dreamed of him every night and the life they could have together. Now she can make it come true. "Don't worry my foxy prince. We'll be together soon," she said as she began to use the internet to find out where he was. IMP headquarters. Blitzo, Millie, Moxie and Loona had just got done watching the news. Everyone in the office couldn't help but be shocked at what they saw, especially Loona. "I knew some humans are pieces of shit, but that kid's father takes the whole cake," Blitzo screamed out, enraged at what he saw. "I have to admit I feel sorry for the blood-red fox," Moxie stated as his wife nodded. "Me too. Though you have to admit he's really strong and a good fighter. That fight was one of the best I've ever seen," Millie shouted out as Blitzo agreed with her. "You got that right, Mills," Blitzo replied. "I mean, did you see the way he handled Asmodeus and that angel? What did you think, Loona?" he then asked, only to see his daughter being extremely quiet, just still looking at the TV that was just showing images of Naruto. "Loona. It's him," she said as she continued to watch the images of Naruto playing. "Do you know him, Loona?" Millie asked as she gave her a concerned look. "Yeah, he saved my life," she said as Blitzo gave a shocked look. "What do you mean he saved your life? Did someone try hurting you?" he shouted out in anger. It was a year before you adopted me. I had an argument with the manager of the Hellhound agency I was living at and he threw me out right on extermination day. It was his way of getting rid of me for good. I thought I was going to die only for him to show up and start killing the angels like they were nothing. I tried to thank him for saving me, but he ran off before I could. If it wasn't for him I wouldn't be here today. She explained. Blitzo just remained quiet for a moment. It was clear his daughter felt something for Naruto which he hated, but there was the fact he saved her life. If it wasn't for him then he wouldn't have the adorable daughter he had today. He couldn't help but feel for Naruto, especially after what was revealed and knew he should at least try and do something. Let me see if I can find out where he is Loona. Blitzo said, getting her attention. He knew the best person who would know would be Stolas, and as much as he hated pimping himself out to that pervert, he would do it for Loona. I'll find out from Stolas where he is and tell you so you can thank him. Loona immediately hugged Blitzo hearing that. Thank you, Dad. She said, causing his eyes to swell up with pride and give a smile. She quickly released him seeing that and walked away while he remained in a happy state. The Gosha mansion. The entire Gosha family just sat in silence at what they just saw on the news. Eventually, it was Stolas who broke the silence. I have to say I don't think any of us were expecting that to happen today. He said as his daughter looked at him. What's going to happen to him, Dad? She asked. I don't know, Via. No doubt a meeting will be called about him and King Lucifer will inform us of what's going to be done, but until then I have no idea. Stolas replied. Do you think King Lucifer would make one of the royal families take him in? Octavia then asked. He might, but I don't think he will. Given how some of the royal families are, they might use Naruto for a power play. Stolas answered. Do you think if he did we might take him in? His daughter asked. I could offer, after all our family is loyal to King Lucifer. Stolas answered, only to be interrupted by his wife. No way are we having a plebeian sinner in our home. Stella screamed out. But Mom, he happened to defeat both Asmodeus and an archangel and not to mention has been going around killing exterminator angels. If anything, he's an overlord. No, he's more powerful than an overlord. Octavia responded only for her mother to let out a scoff. He's still a sinner and that's still a low-class demon, just like imps. She shouted as she glared at Stolas who just flinched. I better go find out when that meeting is if it has been scheduled yet. Though I don't think we'll be able to take him in since he would need some peace and quiet to recover and he wouldn't get that here. He said as he quickly. Octavia just glared at her mother in annoyance. Enough is enough. She said, getting her mother's attention. Here's what is going to happen. You're going to let him stay here if Dad is allowed to take him in and going to shut up and accept it. Or what? Stella asked curiously what her daughter might threaten her with. Or else I tell Dad about all of your hookups you have. Octavia answered, surprising her mother. In case you forgot, your father is sleeping with an imp. Stella responded. Yeah, but you've been cheating on him long before he met that imp. I have proof, videos, and pictures of you wearing a blindfold while hooking up with all sorts of men of different classes you ordered through an escort service. Octavia fired back. You've been cheating on him a long time, and I kept quiet just to keep this family together, but no more. If we split up I will pick Dad over you and make sure you end up with nothing since you cheated first. Stella just gave an amused smile. I have to admit you quite prepared. I can't help but be a bit proud of you, but you have nothing. She replied as her daughter just looked at her. What you have is a woman who looks like me who is blindfolded. Sure, she may be blindfolded so she can't see who is fucking her, but those men also don't know her name. They were paid to fuck her and do not know who she is, but I will tell you one thing about her. She hasn't fucking imp. Nice try, Octavia. Stella said as she then got up and left the room. Octavia just let out a scowl and then smiled as an idea popped into her head. She hasn't fucked an imp yet. She said as she pulled out her phone and dialed a number her father put into her phone, just in case she ever was in danger and needed help. After a few rings, it answered with the person shouting on the other end. I don't care if I ruined a moment where you were happy. I need your help. She said as the person on the other line said they didn't care and to forget. It involves humiliating my mother and I'm willing to pay you money for your help. She then said as the person immediately agreed to help. Needless to say, Octavia's plan to blackmail her mother worked since it involved Blitzo taking the place of the John her mother hired and handcuffing her to the bed where he would humiliate and fuck her. Octavia would then hold the video of her session with Blitzo over her mother's head, threatening to leak it online if she didn't comply. Unfortunately, her plan came with a complicated hitch as her mother became addicted to being humiliated by Blitzo, which led to him having to sleep with her and humiliating her in the process. Octavia would later discover this relationship when she would walk into her parents' room only to see her mother naked, bound, and blindfolded in front of the door, asking Blitzo if he was back yet. Apparently, Blitzo had tied her up and left her like that, giving her the thrill that someone might walk in and see her like that, while promising to come back and untie her, only to forget about it. It would make Octavia wonder if being a pervert runs in the family, yet that is another story. Back at the Hazbin Hotel. Lucifer was currently sitting with his wife as he glanced at his phone. No doubt he would need to hold a meeting about Naruto. No doubt some of the royal families would give him trouble about him, but he would put them in their place. Right now he needs to focus on what's going on with Naruto. He had also taken the liberty of looking at the barrier around the hotel and realized who put it there, giving him a lot more questions. Suddenly Charlie returned to them with Vaggie by her side. I placed him in a room where he is currently sleeping. I have Nifty keeping an eye on him and told her to let us know when he wakes up, she said as her father looked at her. This is one of the biggest problems hell has ever had. I have no idea what's coming next and hate that, he said as his wife placed her hand on his hand. Don't worry my love, we will handle it together, Lilith told him, causing him to smile at her. Daddy, what are you going to do with Naruto? Charlie asked as her father looked at her. Nothing, he answered, surprising her. He was a human before he died, which means he lives by the same rules the other sinners do. I am not going to change that for him, however I strongly feel he needs to be looked after for now. His mind is not in the right state given everything he has just discovered, not to mention I got the strong feeling those angels are not going to give up anytime soon. They're going to pull whatever tricks they can to get Naruto to return to the living world. Wells, they can't get inside the hotel thanks to the barrier you put up, Charlie replied, only for her father to look at her. Charlie, I didn't put that barrier up, he said, shocking her. If you didn't, then who? She asked as he just let out a sigh and an unsure look, only for his wife to answer. You think it was your father, don't you? Lilith asked him, shocking everyone. I know it was him, I just don't understand why, Lucifer said. Charlie just took a moment to think and then asked. Do you think God was responsible for Naruto showing up into heaven when he died? This question surprised Lucifer as he did not consider that. I mean, you heard Naruto's story, they were surprised he showed up there. It was like they were caught off guard. That's because they were, Lucifer responded. They did not see that coming and it took them a while to find out how to send him to hell. They have been making decisions of who comes into heaven for a long time that they either forgot or don't know how to send people to hell. Plus there was the fact him arriving there gave him a reason to keep going. I have a strong hunch if he arrived in hell right away he would have broken just like he did now. He had no one back then to rely on. But now he has us. Charlie replied as Lucifer let out a small chuckle as he started to realize a few things, while Charlie added. Though I wish I knew why those angels wanted to destroy the hotel. Because the hotel is a threat to the way they're doing things. They know if you succeed in rehabilitating a sinner they wouldn't be able to send them back to hell because they would come back up. It would ruin the way they're doing things and they can't have that. I have no idea what is going on with my father, but he's pulling some tricks. After all, some say he works in mysterious ways and I get the feeling he wants you to help Naruto. I want you to help him too, Lucifer told her, surprising his daughter. You want me to help him? She asked as Lucifer stood up and placed his right hand on her shoulder. Yes. If anyone can help him it's you, Charlie, he said as she immediately hugged him and he hugged her back. After a few seconds, they broke off the hug as Lucifer and Lilith left the hotel, leaving Charlie and the others on the mission to be there and help Naruto. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.